Hello, all. This is Wayne Chambers with 36 Chambers Financial. Thank you for coming back and joining me for another week. What I wanted to talk about this week, I got to keep my notes. Everything got a lot of things going on. What I want to talk about this week was credit and credit reporting, and how these two things have become such a big part of the U.S. society. Excuse me, I think I've caught a cold. I'm not sure, but we're going to fight through it anyway. All right. When you talk about credit, we're talking about how a company, business, person looks at another person, company, business, who is trying to either purchase a product or do some type of business in the where it is necessary to look at their background to extend them a loan, a lease on a product, apartment, things like that, or even for a company, a particular business area where they might be working at. They look at their credit background. Now, for middle to lower income people, what this says, when we talk about credit, we're talking about how lenders are looking at your financial history. The thing about it is, credit has morphed into more things than just your financial history. Your financial history isn't telling it all, and when they say it's just your financial history, they're not telling it all. So what we're going to talk about is telling it all, basically, and what they'll be looking for. Now, as most people know, there are three major credit agencies that are dealt with in the U.S. Now, I say three major ones because there are numerous credit agencies and credit reporting agencies out there. The three main ones that are dealt with in the U.S. are Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. They are not the only ones. Remember that, because you may deal with a bank or a lender who doesn't deal with those three major ones. They have become the accepted norm because they deal with things on such a global level, and they're trusted by so many areas that they have become the norm, the standard. And so those three agencies are the top three. But there's a long list. There's dozens of credit reporting agencies out there that even deal with in the US. Now, when they look at your credit, well, let's take it a step back. Let's see what that credit means before they even look at it. Before you go somewhere to get something, whether it be buying a car, buying a house, any product where they're going to look at your credit, you need to look at it first. First of all, each year you are allowed by the government to have one free credit report. So you can go to just about any place in any credit reporting site, or even they send you paperwork every year that tells you where you can go to get your one report. This is a comprehensive report that shows everything. This is by no means what a company or a lender is going to be looking at in any particular part or as a whole when they pull your credit. They're going to be looking at specific parts, and they're going to be looking at specific history pertaining to what they're lending you. So get your one credit report. Start with that, and then realize that, or look at it, go through it. If something's wrong on it, you need to start fixing it. If you have information that is not a repossession or foreclosure, and it's 7 years and it's still on there, you need to go to the reporting agency and tell them to take it off. It should not be showing. Yes, it may still be there. Yes, it may still be there, but it is not something that is reportable when someone asks for your credit. A lot of people don't know that. If you have something on there that you paid off, took care of, whatever, and it is, and you go somewhere and they extend you credit and it's denied, they denied extending you credit, you're allowed a free credit report automatically. Anytime you're denied credit, you're allowed a free credit report. So you pull that credit report and it's showing something that you took care of. You're now 35. You took care of that when you was 20. That should not be. It's not reportable. So that should not be showing. So you go back to the credit reporting agency and you start the process of getting that taken off, because there is an actual statute where they aren't allowed to report things after a certain amount of years. Foreclosures are, I believe, 10 years. Repossessions on vehicles are 7 years, and a lot of other things are 3 to 4, sometimes 5 years. So messing up on something stays there a long time. So be careful when you don't make payments. Be careful when you get a repossessed vehicle. It's tax time. You're going to see plenty of people buy a vehicle here in February. It's going to be repossessed in September. Then the next year, you're going to have to go to these little rundown, rinky-dink places that give you a car that's barely together because you messed up your credit from the previous year and you can't go any place that's more established or legitimate. They're selling you junk. They're selling you stuff that's just enough to get past the lemon law. That's it. So credit is very important in today's society. Now, when we talk about your credit, and we're talking about going to get credit from whoever, they pull up exactly what they need to see for your particular situation. If you're going to get furniture, they're not going to pull up a whole bunch of history about stuff that's not relevant to what they're looking at. Now, the funny part is nobody really knows what they're looking at. Each company, each lender has their own database or computer program or whatever that calculates what exactly they're looking at, or on your particular credit report, or what they're searching for to make you credit worthy. It's not fair, but fairness is not a part of business. So what I do, and people like me, we try to give you the best possible help to understand what's in your credit report and how you need to be showing it to the world, so that you can have an intelligent conversation about your credit with anyone that's trying to lend you money, or you're trying to buy a car, whatever. You can sit down, because sometimes you can talk past your credit report. I'm not saying that's going to happen every time, but if you know there's something on your credit report, it's 4 years ago, and they may have used that to deny you, you can sit down and talk to them and be like, look, that's 4 years ago. I'm trying to work this out. I've worked it out. It's done. It's in the past. It was taken care of. Can you all reevaluate that? And they might do that. But understand that each place you go to, they may pull it from, they don't pull all three. A lot of people think that, but that's not a truth. They pull from one credit agency, and they pull exactly what they're looking for from one credit agency. So when you pull your report every year, You need to pull from the three major credit agencies. You're safe that way. Like I said, there are more, but you're safe in pulling from those main three. Now, when you pull from those main three, make sure that's what's supposed to be there is there. Your address is correct. How long you've been working a job is correct. Your past and previous information is correct as well. Because if it's got on there that you lived in Arkansas and you never lived there, you need to tell them about that, because that may have been somebody trying to hack your credit report or commit some kind of fraud. So they're going to pull from a particular company. They're going to take that company's information and they're going to look at exactly what they need to look at. That's it. They have no reason to look past that. And most of the time, this is done by computer. They're not even, you don't even have an actual person looking at your credit report. It's all calculated by a computer. And what they do is it goes by a ratio, sort of like a good versus bad type of ratio that they have to measure if you're worth lending to. So, excuse me. So when we talk about understanding that, you need to look at the history. Like I said, you need to go over your credit report. You need to look to see what's going on and how it's going on your credit report. Once again, if it's wrong, and I may keep saying this over and over again, but a lot of people don't challenge it when it's wrong. Yeah, understand, people, the credit agencies aren't regulated by the government. That means they are running a business. Understand that. It is a business for them. People are paying them to pull your credit report. So for them, it's money. It's just money and how they see that money. So if you don't challenge what's on your credit report, they have no reason to change it. They have to change it because it would be fraudulent for them to report incorrectly. Here's the problem. If you just do oh man, I'm about to get into it. I'm really about to get into it because I hate the way it's done. I'm not real into I'm not government regulation. I'm just not into it that much. But this is one of the things that's so important because they're using your credit and your credit report to get you a job nowadays. It has to be correct. If not, and I've gone through this personally, that I had to spend, somebody had reported upwards of 50K on my credit report, and it took me like a year to get them to correct that because they automatically don't believe you, the consumer. It's my report. How you not believing me? So you have to go through steps to prove that what's on there is not correct. Now, step one, you challenge it through their site. That's bullshit. I'm just say it like that. It's bull. Because you know what they do? All they do is ask the company if you owe them money. Of course the company is going to say you owe them money. Are you serious? Are you really serious? You just asked the company. I'm telling you, I don't know this company. I ain't never dealt with this company. no part to this company, but you're still going to ask the company if I owe them money. Of course they're going to say I owe them money. Half the time it's probably automated. Send your email. Does he owe you $2,000? Oh yeah, he owes us $2,000. Really? That's the step one. That's that whole, if you challenge it through their site. You can't do that. If you are dealing with a fix to your credit report, you're gonna have to get dirty. You're gonna have to call them. First, you call them and have them put a watch on your credit. Basically, it locks the credit down so that anybody using your credit automatically has to really prove that they're who they say they are, which is you. Secondly, you need to go in and make sure you have the proper information or find the information to prove your case. Now, that can be hard because at the time I was in the military, I had never been to Florida, so I was trying to prove to them that I had never been to Florida. I'm on the phone with the company. What do you need to see a copy of my orders? I have never lived in Florida. Do you want me to get the sergeant major on the phone? What do you need me to do? So it took a year to get that done. It was 6 months for me to prove that I had never lived in a state. It took another 6 months for them to take it off. And that's me constantly harassing them. But that's something that you have to do. You have to make sure your credit report is correct. The correctness of that report can be the difference between getting a car that's going to last you 6 months or getting a car that's going to last you 5 years. It could be the difference between working at McDonald's and making what, $30,000 a year, to working for another company and making $80,000 a year. I have seen people get turned down when their credit report was approved for a job. So be careful when it comes to your credit. Be vigilant when it comes to your credit. And really pay attention. If you don't understand your credit, give me a call. We can set you up and we can sit down and go through a credit report step by step so that you understand what's going on. So that when you look at your credit report, you know exactly what you're looking at. So I really could, because I really don't like where it's going. I could talk about this for hours. I really don't like where this whole credit is going, because it's basically, they're basically saying whether you're a good or bad person. And that's just paper. It's why people like myself, small businesses, are up against big companies. For us, you're not a number. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to talk to you. And we're going to go through everything we need to go through step by step. I'm not going to be asking you a bunch of questions on the phone. You don't have to break your back to get me a whole bunch of information. It's my job to do that. I'm getting your information. And for the middle to lower income, they beating us down. Yes, I'm not a billionaire. They are beating us down with paperwork and automation. There's nothing wrong with automation. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with automation. I use automation myself for a lot of stuff. There's nothing wrong with it. But They're beating us down with it. And that's from laziness. That's from financial standpoints, because they're trying to save money and they're taking the human factor out. The human factor would not have taken a year to correct my credit. The automation factor asks you, first you got to do point 1, then you got to do point 2, then you got to do point 3. We'll see this information over here. When they start over, you got to do point 1, you got to do point 2, you got to do point 3. It's people like myself, and it's what I do. Most of the automation we throw out the door because people don't understand it. So if you're not understanding your credit, give me a call and we'll make an appointment and we'll sit down and we will walk through a credit report, because understanding how they're beating us down is the first step to stopping them from beating us down. I could talk a little more on credit, but we need to get into some weekly business that's going on in the world, or in the US at the minimum. So I may hash out some more about this credit stuff later, but right now, like I say, check your credit. You should be looking at your credit at minimum once a year. If you have bad credit, or credit that is like volatile to a company, you need to work on getting that fixed so that you can raise up from your current situation and do bigger and better things. All right, let's look at what's going on in the business world now. So we got, and I'm still talking about this, so we got a new president, and a lot of this stuff he has nothing to do with. Some he does. Some is just business happenings. Some has to do with his policies and what he's doing. But you have to understand, when it comes to these businesses, they're always looking for ways to cut costs. Incorrectly, most of them see the first cost cutting technique to be to fire people. 9 times out of 10, and there are many studies that have been on this, that's the wrong technique. It really is. They can save 10 jobs by turning the lights off at night. How many places have you seen that you rode by where the lights are on at night? So we've got Lowe's is reportedly cutting 500 full-time jobs. We've got the owner of TJ Maxx says, I'm going against that. I'm going to hire 1,300 people. Now, let's look at the difference between that. Lowe's is cutting full-time jobs. That's 40 hours plus a week. TJ Maxx is not hiring 1,300 full-time people. Most likely those are part-time jobs. You can survive on a part-time job if you get smart. Change the way of thinking. It's a battle. It is a battle. It's literally us against them. You have to come into this combat and you have to be properly equipped for this combat. If you're not properly equipped, you're going to lose. You cannot battle. You cannot step into this battlefield without having the right equipment. Now, for those losing their jobs, if they have 401ks, there are ways to still add to your retirement and still move on to retirement. You have the ones that are gaining jobs with, say, TJ Maxx. You can use that money and try to add to your retirement as well, or make ends meet. What I'm saying is we need to do more than make ends meet. This is an environment you can thrive in. I have sat down and I have shown people the things that they have believed couldn't be done can be done. So with these businesses, every year they're reporting record sales, record profit, yet they still keep laying people off, and they keep taking away from what they're doing. At what point are we, the consumers, saying that's not adding up? We get an inferior product, less product, paying higher prices, and these businesses are still making profit hand over foot. We, the consumer, control that. That's something that we control. How much these businesses make, where their profit comes from, what they're going to be counting as profit. That's something that we control. And as soon as we understand that we control that, we can take charge of the situation. And they, a business, which should be working for you instead of you working for them. It's not a privilege for us to walk through your doors. You know, yeah, come on into our company. You should feel privileged for shopping at my store. No, that's not how that works. It is a privilege for us, to you, to be there. You should feel privileged that we're coming in your store. This is not a guarantee that we're going to shop at your store. So you should be doing what's necessary to get us to shop at your store. Now, when we talk about what's going on currently, a lot of things are still uncertain. So all I can really report on is like the stock market, which is still having mixed reviews, record highs. They're all over the place. But what's holding up the stock market is currently all the things that our president, the U.S. president, has said he will support. So if certain sectors drop down, that's how the stock market works. Certain sectors can drop down, other sectors can raise up, and they go further up, and those can make those record highs go higher. This is not the whole record high thing is not saying our economy or all the businesses are making these profits. It is saying that those making the profits are making more profit than the people who aren't. So, as I always say, now is the time to get our finances under control, because there is a lull between job markets being good and job market being bad. It's always going up and down. That lull is when you need to try to make your 2-income household into a thriving 1-income household. And that means what's necessary to run your house. A 2-income household, the second income should be all extra. So yes, you have a 2-income household, but you don't need 2 incomes. If you just got the 1 income, you need to be living within your means so that you can still be profitable. And if you don't understand how to do that, that's what I'm here for. So, on that note, there's not a lot to report that affects middle to lower income at the moment. There are some new laws coming out, and I'm going to definitely tell you about the new laws if they affect you. But right now, what you're talking about is small towns and jobs, What you're talking about is businesses moving from state to state. So that's something that always gonna fluctuate, and it is something that occurs as the market goes. It's just how business is. But things that really hit us, yeah, that's the stuff I'm gonna talk about. Retirement, they trying to cut full 1K percentages, things like that, and I want to break those down in terms that you understand. So, as always, I'm always ready. Give me a call, 844-463-6151, toll free, and we'll get all your questions answered. I am here to help you. This is Wayne Chambers, 36 Chambers Financial. Enjoy the rest of your week.